So this is gold on the weekly time frame. I'm going to break it down for you. But this week, we've traded gold and we've had a lot of different variations. Usually more than 3 trades in 1 week is usually wild for me. So we've had, in our last video, we explained gold above 140 price. So gold was giving that indication that it could go to an all-time highs. However, the whole thing changed. And we had some trades, we had some losses, and then we also had some wins. So on the Throne Telegram group, we usually explain our trades further. So the first one was trying to buy gold above 5,140, and then we woke up and we were down. So we had a loss, which is a normal part of trading. You cannot avoid it. And then on that same day in the video, gold also gave us another indication that it was going to buy, and we had some good buy trading opportunities, thinking now this is the time where gold will actually go to an all-time highs. However, that was not the case. Gold ended up reversing and giving us a sell signal, which we also gradually took. The moment gold gave us that signal, the moment it began to break lower lows, failing to go further up, we knew that gold was going to sell, and we had that trade. Just like we had explained in the video, we were looking for buys as long as the trend had not changed. But the moment the trend changed from up to down, we definitely switched from buying to selling. But until that had happened, we were looking to buy, and that's why we were taken out in most of our trades. So if you watch the whole of this video, you will realize that point where we said it's time to sell. So, and then that was on Thursday, and then on Friday, market continued to go down. But the most important thing I want you to observe is this here. So like gold is bearish until it breaks above 5,190 because it had formed a lower low. And then I was like, forget about gold going to all-time highs because of the war that is happening. Fight with the technical analysis. In other words, understand technical analysis and leave the rumors of wars to the guys with real armory. So we were just following the technicals in addition to the fundamentals that were at play. So at this point here, there was no absolute reason to be able to look for buying opportunity, given the fact that we had already formed a lower low here. So, and this week, let me just break it down for you, gold, and how we're going to trade it. So let me start from the weekly, because this is where we usually do it. So now, the first thing I want you to observe here, I'm going to mark our visible highs and lows based off the weekly time frame. So this is the weekly chart. So the first thing, and what everyone was looking at, was gold coming to fill up this week, going into an all-time highs. That was the story. But however, if you can see from here, gold comes and then fails to go further up. So this is a common area, or you could also mark this as the high. But if you mark the wicks, you will see that gold is refusing to go further up because we've had this candle here pushing up all the way up to here and then also down here. So we need to mark the high and the low of this second last candle. So we mark it like that. So now based on the weekly, we are still bullish, especially if we don't come to break this low. Okay. So the same way we're still bullish around here, this was a price difference. And then if this is broken, then possibly we could look for these lows here. So once you've marked your visible highs and lows, you know those are your potential resistance area. This is what the weekly looks like. There is no way we can trade now on the weekly. You can neither put a sell or a buy position here because there would be no reason to do that. So what you want to do to be able to analyze and understand price next direction is to be able to now go to a lower time frame, because here we've marked all the visible highs, the visible lows, and those are our price, the areas of price interest. When price reaches there, the next thing we look for is the structure of the market. So once you have that, and come to the daily, the nearest time frame to the weekly, which would be the daily. And from the daily, we begin to understand how price was actually behaving. Now, we had explained how this single candle here changed the game for us because it came and broke this low and then formed the lower low here, which we've marked as a weekly low, which is a potential support area in case price holds it. And then in case price breaks it, then we can also be looking for these other targets here for this week. But what I want you to observe here is that after gold failing to come to an all-time high, which is this one here, gold came and formed a lower low. From this lower low here, price was pushing up. So we're going to look for buy opportunities if it had broken above this. This is the more buys, we would be adding more buys if this area market had broken. But however, you can see here, price fails to break, fails to go up, and then from here comes and gives us a price difference candle. So you can see this candle here, the difference between this high and then this low was actually the whole of this. Now, the concept of price difference, I've explained it several times. So once you had this, there was definitely no reason to look for further buy opportunities because we had formed the lows here. And then, so that's what we have. So the same thing we have right now. If you look at the difference between this high and then this low, we also have it here. So this is another area where the structure was broken. Okay, so as long as now price does not break above this to continue and this to continue, there is a higher chance it's going to break below this. So we have nothing else to do on the daily. We can now switch to a lower time frame. But what I want you to observe here is the fact that price has completely failed to go further up here. That's why it's coming down. It's very important. So we can go to the 4-hourly, and on the 4-hourly, you can now begin to see why we had these sell entries. We had the first sell entry, we had it around here, and then the second one around here, okay? Which are here. Let me just show you from the Telegram group. That is, the first sell entry was around 5,160, and the other one 5,100, because price was continuing to push down. So once you have this, the next thing and how we're going to trade this week is now. I want you to observe this, especially on the lower time frame. Let me just come to the 1 hour. So on the 1 hourly time frame, what I want you to notice here is that, okay, so if I'm to just make this like this so that it can cover for that, you don't have to have it big. So I want you to observe price here so that you can know how to trade well. So this is a high, then the market comes and forms a low, and then we had another lower low here. You see here, this is a high, the market fails to reach this other previous highs, comes to form a lower low, and then comes up here, doesn't reach these highs, and then we have a low here. So you can clearly tell here, the market is breaking more of the lows and then failing to reach the previous highs. The same way this high was not reached when market tried to push up, the same way this high was not reached when market tried to push up. So here, this is a very good indication of the bearish momentum in the market. So what you want to do here, you want to find out a scenario whereby if this area, market does not break above it, let me just do it like that because this is a high here. If we don't break above this, that means we're going to continue to be bearish. And the best thing for you to be able to do is you want to wait for price to actually break below this and then maybe pull back into that, doesn't reach here, breaks back inside, and then we can take that sell. So this is all I'm looking at now. The only time in which I will change my mind about gold being bearish is if we come and break above a high, an existing high. Remember these highs. We either break these existing highs to continue. That's when I will change my mind. Otherwise, I'm bearish all the way up to here. This will be my target. And then if this is broken, we'll be targeting this. So I'm very bearish on gold based on the technicals. It doesn't matter what is going on with the wars and all of that. You just follow the technicals, use proper risk management. You will take some losses. But then once you start winning, also you win more. So this is how we're going to approach gold this week. So let's see how this plays out.